Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Jovike here, and in today's video we are going to learn how to make a perfect Princess Dart bustier. It's a self-explanatory and beginners-friendly video. Here is my pattern paper, ruler, tape and marker, and the first thing that you are going to do is to mark out a baseline at the edge of your pattern paper. It will serve as a guideline for imputing measurements. Next is to place your tape rule from the baseline like so and measure your bust point, and the bust point I am working with is 11.5. I will mark it out and move over to the underburst, and the underburst measurement I am working with is 15.5 inches. I will go ahead and mark it out. Next is the half length, and I'm using 18 inches. I will also mark it out. Then I added 1.5 inches for the seam allowance. You can decide to make yours 1 or 2 inches. So I'm done marking out from the burst points to the half length, which are the vertical measurements. Next, I will use my pattern ruler and mark a straight line along those marks. I have marked on the burst point line and I am marking it now at the underburst line. I will shift small and mark the half length line, and I will also mark the seam allowance line. After marking out the vertical measurements, next I will go ahead and start labeling. First one, the burst point BP, the underburst UB, half length or waistline WL. Next, I will move over to the shoulder, and the shoulder measurement I am using for this bustier is 17 inches. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5 inches. I will go ahead and mark it out. I will place my tape rule on it like so and mark out the chest line. If you don't know your chest line, you mark it 2 inches above your bust point. I will place my tape rule there and still mark out my shoulder measurement divided by 2 so that I can get a straight line like so. From there, I will also mark a vertical line on the chest line. The next thing I'm going to do, I'll place my tape rule on the armhole line and locate and mark out the midpoint like so. And I will label here CL, and then down here as the seam allowance. Remember, we marked out the midpoint of our armhole line. 9 inches divided by 2 is 4.5 inches. Now, on that 4.5 inches, with your tape rule, go in by ½ inch and mark it out. Then you get your pattern curve, place it on the ½ inch and mark out your armhole. Remember, this is the front pattern. That is why we are coming in by ½ inch at the armhole region. After the armhole, next I will measure the neckline. And for this Princess Dart bustier, we are using 3 by 3. I will place my tape like this and mark out 3 inches for the wideness. Place it like this and also mark out 3 inches for the depth. Next, I will get my pattern curve and curve the round neck like so. Next, I will place my tape rule on the armhole line and come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. And with my ruler, I will slantly connect it to the neckline like so. The next thing we are going to do is to mark out the dart. But before that, I will mark out the nipple to nipple or bust span measurement. The measurement I am working with is 8, and 8 divided by 2 is 4 inches. I will mark 4 inches on the burst point line, and I will mark 3.5 inches on the underburst, the waistline and the seam allowance line. This is because the dart at the burst point is wider than the one at the underburst and half length. And it will also make this Princess Dart bustier to come out nice. So I'll connect the 3.5 to the 4 inches at the burst point like so. Next, I will place my tape rule at the shoulder and then come down by 4 inches. You can decide to come down by 4.5 inches. So I'll get my ruler and connect it to the burst point line like so. Guys, that's it for the center piece. So for the side piece, I will place my tape on the underburst and mark out 2 inches. I will also mark out the 2 inches on the waistline and the allowance line like so. Next, I will get my pattern ruler and connect the 3.5 inches marks. Then use my pattern curve to curve it towards the burst point line, and as you can see, the burst shape is forming already. Next, I will take the armhole dart, and for the armhole dart, place your tape rule on the 4 inches we marked earlier and come down by 2 inches. Then get your pattern curve and connect it from the 2 inches down to the burst point line like so. This will make your armhole not to bulge. Now, when it's time to join the center and the side piece, you will notice that this side armhole dart will be shorter, and to avoid this, I will place my tape on the side piece and extend it by 2 inches so that when you join the center and the side, they will be equal. Next, I will get my pattern curve and place it on that 2 inches we extended and mark out a new armhole. So guys, the area I am marking dots on is the area we will be cutting. I am dotting it like so that you won't be confused. The next thing I'm going to do is to measure and mark out our round bust measurement, which is 40 divided by 4, 10 inches plus extra 2 inches allowance, making it 12 inches. I will go ahead and mark it out. For the waistline, you will also divide your waist by 4, and the waist measurement we are working with is 30. 30 divided by 4 is 7.5 inches plus 2 inches for the dart we took at the underbust area. Remember, we took out 2 inches for the breast curve. Now we will add back the 2 inches. 7.5 plus 2 is 9.5 inches plus another 2 inches for seam allowance, making it 11.5 inches. I will go ahead and mark it out. After that, I will also mark it out on the allowance line and move up to the underburst and mark it out as well. I will get my pattern ruler and connect the lines together like so. Guys, we are done marking out the measurements. I will go ahead and start cutting from the side to the armhole down to the shoulder slope. I won't cut the dart now. I will use it to trace the back before cutting. I will get another pattern paper for the back, place the front pattern on it like so, and then I will go in by 1.5 inches on the back pattern like so. This will be for the zipper allowance. After marking it out, I will use my ruler to mark a straight line down. Guys, if you want your bag to also have a princess dart, I have a tutorial video on that. The video is on how to draft the normal princess dart without bustier. If you are interested, click on the video card that just appeared at the top right of your screen. I will also be attaching it in the description box so you can watch it later. So after marking out the 1.5 inches for zipper allowance, I will get the front pattern and place it on that line like so. Next, I will get an office pin or masking tape to hold it down. After that, I will go ahead and start tracing. I will trace from the shoulder slope, getting to the armhole. Please do not trace it the same way. The back armhole is meant to be straight. Do not go in by 1/2 inch while tracing. Just trace it straight before curving it. Then I'll continue tracing from the side to the down part. I will get my ruler and also trace the chest line, the waistline, and the seam allowance line. I am done tracing, so I'll go ahead and take out the front pattern. I will now get my ruler and marker and use it to make those traced lines visible. Now remember that the back armhole will be straight. We won't go in by 1/2 inch the way we did with the front pattern armhole. The next thing I'm going to do is to measure and mark out the back neckline. I will place my tape rule like so and mark out 1 inch for the back neck depth. For the wideness, I will use the same 3 inches we used for the front neckline. So I'll place my tape rule and mark out 3 inches for the wideness. I will now get my pattern curve to connect and curve out the back neckline very well. After that, I remarked my vertical lines. This is because we only need the chest line and the waistline for the back pattern. There is no bust at the back, so no need for bust point and the underbust. Next, I will label the chest line CL, and I will come down to the waistline and label WL. And lastly, the seam allowance. So for the normal back dart, I will mark out my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Remember, if you want your own back to be princess dart, do not forget to check the description box for the tutorial video on how to achieve that. The nipple to nipple measurement we are working with, 8 divided by 2, 4 inches. I will mark it on the chest line like so. Next, I will place my tape rule on the chest line and come down by 1 inch. I will also place my tape on that 1 inch and mark out 4 inches. I will come down to the waistline and also mark out 4 inches. I will repeat the same on the seam allowance line and then get my pattern ruler and connect the marks. Next, I will take out half an inch on the waistline. Just mark out half inch on the waistline like so. I will now get my ruler and connect it from that 1 inch to the half inch we just marked on the waistline. Next, I will take my bust and waist measurement. 40 divided by 4 is 10 plus 1 inch or 1.5 seam allowance, making it 11.5. The waist is 30 divided by 4, 7.5 inches plus 1 inch for that. Remember, we took out half inch on both sides. That is 8.5 plus 2 inches seam allowance, giving us a total of 10.5 inches. I will go ahead and mark it out before connecting the darts. After connecting it, I will go ahead and label the zip allowance. The back pattern is very easy. I will now use my scissors and start cutting. After cutting the back pattern, I will get the front pattern and then cut out my dart. Remember to cut out only the dotted parts and also the armhole and the neckline. Guys, please give me a thumbs up if this was helpful. So that's it for the drafting of the Princess Dart Bustier. You can decide to trim off the burst point mouth if it's too pointy. Please guys, help me by sharing this video, on your notification bell, subscribe, like, and drop a nice comment. Please check the description box for the link to our Facebook group and join ASAP. Also check out the link to our social media pages and follow us. Thank you guys so much for watching till now. See you in my next video. Bye.